Hello everyone, welcome to the ROKER Report podcast in association with the Sunderland Community Soup Kitchen. It's Gavia once again, and we've won another game. It didn't feel like it was coming, but it did in the end. We eventually got the 3 points tonight against Swindon. Tough Swindon team who didn't really allow us a lot of opportunities. 1-0, of course. Charlie Wyke scored again, another goal from him after a couple of games without one. And yeah, 3 points. We'll move up the table to 4th place. Everything's hunky-dory. I'm joined by Chris Wynn. How we doing, Chris?
Aye, better after that. After we got through it.
Yeah, and Matty Crichton. Matty, how we doing?
Yeah, just feel relieved. I was just waiting for us to, capitulate and draw another game, but we've held on, another clean sheet, and we're moving up the table.
Absolutely. I always ask how people are doing, and the standard answer is just to say, yeah, I'm great. But I've got a feeling like it was going a completely different way. Like, had I asked that question after like 70 minutes, we'd all been pulling our hair out. What little I've got left of it. But yeah, Sunderland tonight, I don't think we played particularly badly. There were some hairy moments, obviously, towards the end. We'll get onto that. But generally speaking, we were in control of the game without really threatening their goal. And thank the Lord, eventually a little bit of our quality shone through, and Chris Mcguire came off the bench, put a great cross in from a free kick. Charlie Wyke does as he has done on many occasions this season. Great movement, gets on the end of it, puts it in the corner of the goal. Keeper gets nowhere near it. And after that point, you felt, well, just hang on to the lead, maybe get a second one, which we did right up until the end of the game. Chris Mcguire gives away a daft free kick. 35 yards out, you think, well, what they're going to do from here, really, just stay tight at the back, make sure we get rid of it. And their player thinks, fuck it, I'm just going to have a shot. And he twats one off the bar. And yeah, I think I shit my pants at that moment. But thank God it didn't go in. Nothing came of it. And we got the 3 points. So, Chris, obviously you said, yeah, you're feeling good because of the 3 points. But that was such a massive win, wasn't it?
It was massive. Just about all you need to do. I think Matty mentioned it. Just need to look at the league table to see how big the result was. Just kind of performance didn't go with it, unfortunately. I know we'll get into it, but just in terms of the 3 points, just getting the 3 points after Saturday, and maybe it was a knock-on effect from Saturday, that leggy performance the weekend. But 3 points, putting the pressure on, results going our way. And it's just nice to look upwards to the top two rather than scrambling for a place in the playoffs for once. So, yeah, in a good position.
I'm just looking at the form table for the sides up there, and we're level with Peterborough as the formed side at the top end of the division. We've won 4 of our last 5. So if they Hull dropping away slightly, I mean, they're back up to second, but we still have them to play. Lincoln have went all to pot. Portsmouth have went all to pot. Doncaster beat Portsmouth tonight, I think. Correct as if I'm wrong. No, I'm right, yes. Doncaster beat
2-1.
Yeah, so Doncaster got an important win for them, but an important win for us because it puts us above Portsmouth. Yeah, it just feels like everything's falling into place for us at the moment. I mean, we aren't playing particularly well and we're winning games. We kept a clean sheet. When you think about it, that's amazing to have kept another clean sheet considering McFadzean, and we'll get onto him, but he was shite tonight, playing left back. You've got a makeshift centre-half in O'Nien, playing with Sanderson, who's a rookie who doesn't play like a rookie, but he is one. And then a makeshift right back in Max Power, flitting between a back 4 and a back 3 tonight, Matty. It was really strange our shape, wasn't it? Interesting to watch us, despite having players largely out of position all over the pitch. We looked very fluid, didn't we?
Yeah, I think obviously we set up, it was clear with that lopsided 3-4-3 to try and get Gooch down the right. I think we're seeing McFadzean we're trying to get it sort of on that right to keep it away from him, and you're seeing Scowen and O'Nien were both sort of there to add protection. But I think the only part of it that made it quite frustrating was because we went down the right so much, we couldn't really get McGeady on the ball.
Yeah.
But I guess a positive is we had Power playing completely out of position, O'Nien still completely out of position, basically, 2 central midfielders at centre off, and bar a few moments, we look pretty solid, and I think it says a lot that sides now, even though we've got this defensive injury crisis, they're not coming and looking to have a go. They're sort of coming with a bit of fear and thinking, like similarly to Fleetwood the other week, if we can get a 0-0 here, that's a good result, which I think's been a change, because I think in the past teams have come to Stadium Light and they've sort of been a bit more confident to have a go, and I think it's good to see that, we are getting that winning feeling back and teams are starting to fear us a bit more now.
I mean, you mentioned like this lopsided thing. Do you not think it wasn't necessarily our formation to be lopsided? We just ended up that way because we just didn't trust it putting it out wide to the left to McFadzean, which meant every time we brought the ball out from the back, it was Max Power bringing the ball out, which meant Gooch was inevitably gonna get it. I mean, I noticed, I've got a note, about 20 minutes in, if you watched, there was McGeady, Gooch and Jones all down the right wing, all three of them, because the ball just wasn't going to the left at all. And we were attacking so much down the right that we just ended up lopsided. And McGeady, he ended up having to just go hunting for the ball because he was so sick of the ball not coming to McFadzean, then not coming to the byline to him, that he just had to wander to actually get some time on the ball.
Yeah.
I think on that though, Chris, I think sometimes naturally when you're on the football field, if say like as we seen McFadzean was giving the ball away so much, I think the players themselves start to think, we don't want to keep giving him it.
That's what I'm saying.
They don't want to give him the ball because they know he's going to give it away.
Yeah.
And we've seen it time and time again. It was either getting exploited positionally, 1v1 from the wingers, and especially on the ball, he just time and time again, he'd take a touch and he'd just give it away.
Yeah, it was all about trust. I mean, you saw when Sanderson and O'Nien got the ball, and it was always looking at Max Power. They never went out to the left. And our formation ended up being kind of, it looked lopsided because of just the way we were playing out with the ball. So it wasn't necessarily, this is what we're going to do. It was just naturally the players gravitated to the right because that's where the trusted players were, and then that's where they put the ball.
Do you think we missed Grant Ledbetter tonight, Matty? Because he's obviously going to be out for a little while now. We saw Carl Winchester come into the team, Scowen playing alongside him. Did we miss Ledbetter? Because, in games like that, he often controls the ball, doesn't he? And I think we didn't really keep a lot of the ball in the centre of the park tonight for whatever reason. So, yeah, what did you make of that?
To be honest, I think I'd wrote on after the last game that if Ledbetter is going to be out for a long time, we need to see more of Carl Winchester. And I think, he was tidy on the ball tonight. He got in space and I think he ticks things over. But I think overall in the midfield tonight, what they did lack, in credit of Ledbetter, sometimes them little long passes he makes just to play someone in. I thought my key criticism of the central midfield tonight, I just thought they were a bit safe. There was a lot of side balls and they did work hard and, they recovered the ball well. You get that with Scowen, and Winchester had some lovely touches, but you never seen one of them pick it up and look to put someone in behind or break someone down the wing. I did just feel they're a bit safe. And like I said, in Ledbetter's credit, he is a bit more daring on the ball and can place it over the top for people.
Yeah, I like how tidy Winchester is, but yeah, I agree that my criticism of Winchester is that he doesn't really look forward. Mm-hmm. He's always someone who looks sideways. So maybe a little bit in the Ledbetter mould, but he doesn't look up as much as Ledbetter. I would have liked to have done that, especially at home against a team like Swindon tonight. Should have looked up and looked to see what was ahead of him rather than alongside him.
Swindon, a game that we expected to win. I mean, that's the 19th game they've lost this season, but they definitely came just for a point, didn't they? So to be able, I mean, we will pore over the individual performances of the players and the way the game went. But ultimately, we just had to win tonight, Chris, didn't we? We just had to get their 3 points, get out of there, move on to the next one. Performance comes secondary when you've got so many players missing, I think.
It does, and you're right. But, the way you were talking there, the way you asked the question, though, Gav, it's a little bit concerning that we're kind of saying, we have to just get through it. Tonight, we were playing the team with the worst away record in League One, and we're kind of just saying, we just need to get through it, get 3 points. And I'd rather us kind of be just a bit more convincing. I mean, if we're looking to go up top two, I mean, what's the gap? I mean, it's 8 points between us and Peterborough. I mean, ideally, we want to win the League One title. We want to be champions, I mean, that's got to be our target with Sunderland. I'm not being arrogant by saying that, but it's the team with the worst away record in the league. They were awful. They didn't look forward. They were looking at set pieces. You say they were set up to defend. Yeah, they put 2 banks of 4 on the edge of the box, but I wouldn't say they were fantastically kind of throwing their bodies in the way of things.
No,
last-ditch tackles.
No.
It was no urgency from us. There was no tempo in the final third. We didn't actually put them under any pressure, really. I mean, we hardly had a shot, to be fair, apart from the odd time when we nicked the ball off them. So I'd rather us be a little bit more convincing against teams like that.
No, I get that. Yeah, absolutely. We would rather that be the case, but I think it's just logical to expect that not every game's going to go to plan. We did actually put a pretty strong team out tonight. I know there was a lot of players out of position, but there were some good attacking players on the pitch, and for whatever reason, we just couldn't break them down. And I worry maybe when we've previously been able to get McGeady to be heavily influential in games, we just haven't in recent weeks, and I wonder how much that's got to do with the left-back situation, like you pointed out before. We'll get on to McFadzean in some detail, I guess, when we do the ratings, but that's really harming us, and it's a case of what do you do, you know? When we do get some central defenders back fit, I wouldn't even think twice. I would just put 09 out there. I know he can play anywhere, and it's harsh on the lad, but we need somebody to be able to provide McGeady with that cover and that presence on the overlap to allow him to flourish. And I know he's played a lot with McFadzean in recent weeks, and he's played a lot with him when he's played well. But tonight, a lot of our performance just felt like we were trying to protect McFadzean and not sort of focus on our strengths. I think James Nichols in our group chat, he shared I think it was the average position map at half time of the players, and it was pretty clear Scowen was just sitting out at left back trying to cover for him because, you know, and it's obviously something that the managers, you know, Scowen's a very important player in the change room, I imagine, because he's worked with Johnson previously and Johnson can probably trust him, and he's probably looked at it and thought, you know, I need you to help me out here, like, because he's costing us too many goals down that left hand side. But I guess looking ahead slightly, we'll play Rochdale at the weekend, who are second bottom in the table, who are playing a more expansive attacking brand of football. So I think that'll be a more interesting game to judge ourselves on, because really, if we want to be dominating games and battering teams, that's a game you should be looking at and thinking they're not going to sit back like some of these teams have. They're going to actually try and play football against us.
I think they'll play into our hands in a way though, Rochdale, because I remember we played them the other year and they persisted with that playing out from the back. And they had to change and go long because we kept scoring. And I think if we are going to do this high press from the front, I wonder how long Rochdale persist with that passing from the back.
Yeah.
Just on that high press, that's been something that's been missing in our last two games.
Yeah, they have looked a bit more complacent.
Yeah, we need to get back to that.
Yeah, okay, we'll move on to 3-word reviews before we do the ratings then. As always, a ton have came through, so I'm sorry I'm going to actually scan further down the list than I normally would to try and get to some of the people I might normally miss. Starting with Richie Martin, he says Virgil van Wyk. Neil Greaves says just keep winning. Stephen Nesbitt, final whistle relief. Ian Roper says just about enough. Matty Foster says we're catching up. Curious Female says edge of seat. Mark Trigg says jammy bastards how are. Hannah says top 3 closer. Gavin Moan says nerves are shot. Lord Jason says just not good enough. Or just good enough, sorry. That would be 4 words. Bradley Sharp says please drop McFadzean. P says Charlie fucking Wyke. Kurt Foster says 3 crucial points. Paul Summerside says onwards and upwards. Evan Lloyd says His Highness assists. Ian Thompson says win playing badly. And we'll end on Bradley Sharp, who says please start Mcguire. Now we will get to him. Don't want to really go any further on that, but we will start with the ratings at the top. And for once, the host won't start with the keeper. I'm going to start with Chris. You're going to have Lee Burge.
Oh, really?
Curveball.
You've put us on the spot there. I wasn't expecting that. It's funny, actually. I mean, it might be too high, but I'm going to go for an 8 for Burge. I thought he made that save later on.
Well, a save's as important as a goal in some cases, isn't it?
That save when the ball was played in behind Power, it was about 20 minutes left, 15, 20 minutes left. That was as important as Wyke scoring at the other end.
Oh, absolutely.
It was only like 2 or 3 minutes after Wyke scored and put us ahead. And I thought basically Burge was as important as Wyke to get us 3 points. So I gave him an 8 for that save. And a couple of other free kicks that were swerving about first half that he held on to. So yeah, I thought solid performance from Burge.
Yeah, grand. Luke 09, Matty?
Yeah, I thought he was solid. Again, I think we always have to highlight that he is playing on his weak foot in a position he's never played until this season. So I think, he wasn't really tested, but I think what he did do, he did well. There was one moment in the game I really liked. I think McFadzean had been beaten and he came across and just, he just dealt with the situation. And I'd think, obviously, it's not going to be a permanent position, but I think we really do have to credit him for his flexibility, but also his willingness to do it, because, it's probably not ideal for him constantly being chopped about. So I gave him a 7.
I gave Deon Sanderson a 7 as well. I just thought he was very assured once again. He reminds us a lot of Johnny Evans when he was here, just very young and very inexperienced, but he plays like a 28, 29-year-old defender. He's just so assured, so confident, doesn't give the ball away that often, wins the majority of his headers, I think he had Pittman in his back pocket. Pittman's ancient, and physically you should expect him to beat him, but I don't think Pittman touched the ball hardly, and he came off, and that was largely due to just how good Sanderson was. And it wasn't all about just, pure defending. I mean, he carried the ball out quite a lot and got himself forward, used his pace. So I gave him a 7. Maybe could have marked him higher, actually. Yeah, pretty happy with Deon Sanderson once again. He's holding his defence together, isn't he?
Yep.
Max Power, Chris?
A bit of a mixed bag, I think, for Max Power. I've got him down as a 6. I thought at times he did some really good things, and we were too reliant on him especially first half, where the ball was always going to him to bring it out. I mean, if he's got the ball that much, I mean, most of the time, there's, lower percentages that a lot of them are going to go astray when he actually tries to play the ball forward. He played a lot of aimless balls forward in the first half, tried to play it too long at times. He got caught in behind with about that chance where Burge made that really good save. And I thought he was kind of ball watching when the striker got in behind him. And he got done down the line with about 10 minutes left far too easily. Didn't really kind of put his foot in or anything. So he was good in some places. He made, 1 or 2 errors in others. So got him as a 6.
Right, let's see who the nastiest bastard here is then. Because, Matty, you've got Callum McFadzean.
Oh,
I think you're going to be...
Thanks for that.
Yeah. How are you, mate? Let's see what you can do with this. Because, another shocker, really.
To be honest, what it reminded me of, actually, and it may come across as harsh, but literally it reminded me of Soccer Aid, as in you'll get like a couple of ex-pros who are, composed and know what they're doing, and then you might get like a radio DJ who may have kicked a ball about when he was younger, but he's just so out of depth compared
Ben Shepherd,
to the rest.
isn't he? He's Ben Shepherd.
Yeah, he just stuck out like a sore thumb in terms of being bad in, a team that was, we were obviously up against a 10 behind the ball and we were trying to break them down, but the amount of times he gave the ball away or was beaten by his man, it's getting too frustrating. And I really, obviously we've spoke on podcasts before about Vulcans, how he hasn't had a great start, but surely he has to be better than McFadzean for me. I know he's got the final coming up, which he'll probably have to play, but it's getting in games, like it was spoke earlier, they're trying to avoid him on the ball, and it's not helping McGeady. And to be honest, I just think he's a liability in the team, and 100%. It's such a shame that Denver Hume's injured.
Yeah. What's your mark then?
Yeah.
You were ranting that much about him and you forgot
the First half, I gave him a 1, but I did think he was better in the second. I think he made less errors, so I did move him up to a 3. So I guess a 2 would be even from the game.
Yeah, that's what I gave him, a 2. Mainly exactly the same thing you said. I had him as a 1 at half time. And when somebody asked why I gave him a 1 and not a 0, I said because you can see he's trying his best. And that's why I do feel a little bit harsh, constantly criticising him and constantly digging him out. But it's the noticeable errors in every single game. We're carrying him. We're 100% carrying him. The fact we're keeping clean sheets and winning games with a player as bad as that playing left back is just crazy. I wonder why they keep sticking him in front of the cameras as well. He done the pre-match interview, and I'm just like, I didn't need to see him before kick-off. Keep him away from the screens, keep him away from the pitch. Just get rid of him. Play anybody else left back. Honestly, I would play anyone else left back.
He is that, when you're organising a 5-a-side and you've only got 9, and there's that lad who says he'll play, and you go, oh, shit, we've got no choice, he's got to come along. Oh, bless him, he tries.
Or when you've got 11 players at 5-a-side and he goes on the team and you can't just stick him out on the wing, nobody passes to him. Yeah.
But what's Vulcan's doing in training? I mean, is Vulcan's just kind of tripping over the ball every 2 seconds in training not to get in ahead of him?
I think Matty might have made a good point. I think it might be with this final coming up. I honestly
think because he's cup tied, maybe he wants to, at least keep him okay for the final. But I honestly think once that final's gone, it's a straight fight between him and Vulcans. I'd be kicking myself if I was Vulcans and I couldn't get ahead of him.
Well, I thought it was funny what Damien said in our chat about, can we maybe put Denver Hume in one of those exoskeletons that the Japanese use so old people can go shopping? I think we should maybe look into that, because that can't be a worse option currently than playing him left back. I think I'm next, Lyndon Gooch. I gave him a 6 in both halves. To be honest, it was a typical Lyndon Gooch performance. He done a lot of decent things and he did a lot of bad stuff, and ultimately it was his end product that was lacking. I mean, I think he had our first shot on target in the game, but I often just think, you've got that in your locker. Why don't you do it more often? Quite often he gets caught under his feet. The ball gets caught under his feet. He runs down blind alleys. He, gives the ball away needlessly, gives away fouls needlessly. I love his commitment. I love how much, when he gets a decision going against him, I love how much passion he shows, because he really does play with his heart on his sleeve, Gooch. But I think sometimes he could do with being a bit more composed, to be honest. I think he's a bit of a hothead, and he runs around the pitch. Even when he's in a decent position with the ball, that affects him, because he's so uncomposed, and it doesn't allow him much time to get his thinking straight and his feet straight and sort of, do something well with the ball. Because as we saw against Burton, he's got it in his locker. When he gets the ball outside the box and cuts inside, he can score these goals. So I wasn't really surprised that he didn't really do much. And then he got injured, didn't he? So let's hope it's not a serious one.
It was Malcolm, wasn't it, last week or the week before, who compared him to Watmore?
Yeah,
I thought that was, at the minute, the way he's playing. I mean, because I've never compared him to Watmore, like, being that direct, but for some reason, the last month or so, he's just turned into that type of player where he wants to run in one direction. And if he can't, then, he doesn't change what he's doing. He just tries to keep going in that direction. And it's just not coming off for him at the minute. Then he needs a couple of moments where he gets his confidence back and he'll get going again. Because he's got it. He can be one of the best players in this league if he wants to.
Yeah. Okay, Chris, you take the next two. Winchester and Scowen in the middle. How do you think them two played and rated?
Pretty much, I've got hardly anything written for either of them because they just plodded along, and pretty much both the same. I've got them both down as a 6. Winchester was tidy, neat, decent touches, but went sideways. I'd rather him go forwards. And like I said, I felt sorry for Scowen. I thought he was covering for McFadzean a lot on the left. He was getting through a lot of work, and I think, Matty, you mentioned that. He was getting through a lot of work in the middle, winning the ball back, getting possession back. But yeah, they kind of did their jobs. Nothing spectacular. Didn't really make too many howlers, but, you just expect more. So both of them down as a 6.
Yeah. And Matty, you can take Jones and McGeady, the two wingers.
I thought they were both similar in essence, that they both had, these sharp touches or these bits of skill where you can tell they've got something about them and they are top players for League One. But I thought tonight, those touches and nice bits of movement, there were just no end product with it. We didn't really create clear-cut chances. Connell Truman, bar Wyke's header, I can't really remember him making a difficult save. And I just think, we need a bit more from them. I just think it's the same with the two of them, just like a bit more end product in this game. And I had them both down sort of a 6.5.
Yeah, I gave them both 6s. I thought, there was a lot of nice moments, particularly early in the game from Jones. He done quite a lot where he was sort of taking people on, cutting inside. Doesn't really lose the ball much, Jones, which I quite like for a winger, because wingers traditionally don't hold the ball very well because they're trying to carve openings and stuff, and Jones doesn't seem to lose it very much. But McGeady, I'm just disappointed he seems to have went off the boil a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying he's playing poorly, but he's not dominated the last couple of games, has he?
I don't think he's being helped by where he's actually getting the ball.
He's
not getting the ball where he wants it. But I was just going to touch on Jones there. The thing that was a little bit frustrating for me about Jones was the last couple of games when he's looked dangerous, he's picked the ball up by the byline. And too many times today, he picked the ball up in the middle with his back to goal. You want him picking the ball up facing the player on so he can take him on. Mm-hmm. And he just didn't get it into enough positions like that today. I think he just got a bit frustrated in the end. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take Charlie White, the goal scorer. I thought he actually played quite well today, even though he only had really one chance. It was interesting early in the game to watch him running the channels. It's not something he often does, but he done that very well, I thought. And it's difficult for White, really, because he's not the type of striker who will create his own opportunities. So whilst running the channels and getting him behind was good, he's not really the player who should be doing that. And Danny Collins pointed that out a few times, actually. He pointed out how, usually you would see maybe Aidan O'Brien doing that job and it's White doing it and there's nobody in the box waiting for the ball. So, I don't necessarily mark him down because of that. I think it's just because he was playing as the lone striker and he was trying to do a bit of everything. But his run and his finish were fantastic for the goal. I mean, that's a confident striker's goal, that. I mean, he starts right from the back of the park, just gets into a really good position, and the ball from Mcguire is a peach, and he doesn't head it directly at goal. He sort of flicks it across the goalkeeper and into the bottom corner. He was getting nowhere near it. And that's just a typical Charlie White finish that we've seen this season. He's much improved across the board, and he certainly deserves our credit for that. So, I gave him a 7 for his all-round performance. Okay, the subs then. We'll probably leave Diamond and Neil, considering that they were on the pitch all of a minute. But you can take O'Brien, Chris.
Yeah, just he didn't really lose it. He fairly tidy on the ball, but didn't get involved enough. Didn't do enough to drop down to a 5, so I've just given him a 6 because he.
Yeah,
I thought his shooting was poor though. I think he had 2 sort of half chances which he snatched at.
Yeah, I wondered about that one. The one that kind of came about a yard behind him, and I couldn't tell from the angle if it was that difficult for him or whether he screwed it up or where the ball was from.
His role in that move was really good as well, I thought. He played the pass to Mcguire to spread it wide, but he did only come on with 5 minutes to go, to be fair to him, so that's fair enough. And Chris Mcguire, Matty, he can be yours.
Yeah, I think once again Chris Mcguire comes on and he's really knocking on the door to start. I think he looks like he's got a bit of hunger back. I think obviously with Lee Johnson, he hasn't thought much of Mcguire because he's barely played him. And I think Mcguire, he seemed to lose a bit of that desire. But since, especially the last game and today, he looks like he does want to win his place back. And that delivery for Wyke, it was that quality, what I was saying before about McGeady and Jones, they didn't put that cross in or that shot. Mcguire put a brilliant ball in once again, and he created a goal. So I think, I'm not sure whether Johnson will start him because of the pressing system, and Mcguire's not really, known too much for that. But if he's going to come on and do things like that, he's a great super sub to have off the bench, and I gave him a 7.
Yeah, it could have went a lot worse for him, mind. There was that 1v1 in injury time where it was probably better to square it to Diamond, and he shoots straight at the goalkeeper. And I don't blame him because he wanted a goal, but that could have then cost us because...
Yeah, I did think that was massively great. I don't think if that was, say, McGeady on the right side of him, I don't think he would have dared not to pass it, but maybe because it was Diamond and he's less of a senior player, he thought he could do it.
Yeah, and then obviously right before the end of the game, he gives away that free kick, which then he hit the bar from, and it was a terrible tackle as well. He didn't need to make it. But yeah, I guess history shows that he got the assist and we finished with a clean sheet. So it could have looked a lot worse for him. I don't disagree with your 7. You got anything to add there, Chris, on Mcguire?
Just looking at what I wrote down, he kind of, because he came on with about half an hour left, and as soon as he came on, I don't know, things just kind of picked up.
Yeah.
And it was just that little bit of needle that he brought to the game, a little bit of kind of shithousery, that he left his foot in a couple of times and he knocked him over a couple of times, and he just gave us a little bit more when he came on. I'd love to see him start, but I'm just not sure he's kind of in the right kind of state fitness-wise to start a game at the minute.
He hasn't started a league game since Johnson's first against Wigan. He's never played him since, so I think he's maybe made his mind up in that respect on him.
Well, and I think it might be a fitness problem as well. I don't think Johnson trusts him to start from the off, because with what he did at the weekend, I think if he did, he'd have started tonight. Yeah,
and I think maybe sometimes you've got to look at certain players and think, when we're lacking inspiration in a game, who do I want to look to my bench and see sat there? And Mcguire's that player for me in this team, and he's proven it again tonight. And I know people will say, well, he should be starting games when he's putting crosses like that in. And I do get that because he's been a good player for us over the years. But tonight, he did as much good as he did bad, in my view, because of that chance where he could have passed it and given the free kick away. But I'm not going to hold it against him. I think we just saw both sides of Chris Mcguire tonight. You saw the good and the bad in him, because he can be a liability with some of his tackling, and he can, be a little bit ball greedy, but he can also come up with the goods when he's putting the cross on a striker's head.
Yeah, but like you said, when a game's going flat and it almost looks like, because we were probably thinking, 20 minutes to go, we're almost thinking, like 25 minutes to go, this is just going to play out to be a 0-0 and we don't look like scoring. And you just need that type of player to come on to just add a little bit of chaos at either end, just to kind of ruffle some feathers on the pitch and get the game going again. And he did it, to be fair.
We've got Pompey on Tuesday as well, and he loves playing them, doesn't he? So if he is going to start, and maybe that's the game, because he always turns up against Pompey. Right, okay, we'll go on to man the match then. I actually gave it to Mcguire, despite saying he did as much good as he did bad. I just think you're right, Chris. He came on, and we needed a little bit of inspiration and a little bit of, nettle there, and he gave us it. He came on and he set the goal up and just, got involved. So, yeah, Mcguire, and I think it was a tough night to give him on the match tonight, to be fair. That's probably why he's got it. How about you, Matty?
Personally, I had Sanderson, just for a complete defensive performance. I think, again, he stood out massively, and I seen this week as well, he's been linked with Sheffield United, and I don't even think that's a harsh link. I think it's showing the class of the player he is. Obviously, we'd love to keep him, but I think that whether that'll happen or not's another matter.
Anyone different, Chris?
I was in two minds. I thought 09 was one of the few who really showed urgency and tried to bring the ball out and kind of get us going when he brought the ball out from the back. But just because he doesn't get much of a shout out, and I thought he was important getting 3 points, I'm going to give it to Burge.
Yeah, I like that. I don't think we've ever finished one of these with three different man of the match, but it goes back to what I said. I don't think there was like a real standout performer tonight. There was a couple of decent performances, a couple of average performances, and then you had McFadzean, didn't you? The manager, Lee Johnson, I gave him an 8. Don't know why, to be honest. I just think team selection, I wasn't sure on it. Do you know what it is? I struggle to mark the manager when he's got so many injuries to think about and so many players to try and protect, because obviously the older players and the likes of Wyke and stuff, you've got to worry sometimes, do you need to wrap them up a little bit? And to his credit, he's not. But he's finding a way of getting results at the minute and points, and that's the important thing. And once again, it was his substitution which changed the match. So, yeah, I gave him an 8. What about you, Chris? I can see you nodding your head there.
Yeah, I wasn't far off. I've got 7 written down. I thought he could have maybe made the changes earlier, because I think first half was awful. I was expecting changes at half time, to be honest. And he did it with half an hour to go. Could have been earlier, but you can't really knock it when he made the changes, and it turns out we get 3 points. So yeah, got him as a 7. How
about you, Matty?
Yeah, I had him as an 8. I think obviously today was a bit flat, but one thing we haven't touched on massively is that, we've got a clean sheet today and then we've got 4 central defenders injured and we're still managing to cover. And I think obviously that is an accomplishment in itself, because I don't think there's many teams in this league who would be able to cope having 4 central defenders injured. So I guess in that respect, I'm pretty pleased with how he's dealing with that.
Yeah, I completely agree in the long run, Matty. But tonight he was helped by a team that didn't actually want to take any shots and attack our
Yeah, that is also true.
Yeah.
All right then. Well, we'll round off there. I think that's a good point to end. Thanks very much, lads, for joining us again. Nice to talk about 3 points. We're sort of getting used to it, aren't we? I don't think we were as excitable about these wins. We're just it's another win. But that's a good way to be. I think that's the sort of momentum that we need at the minute, particularly going into Saturday when we take on Rochdale. And of course, keep up with the website this week. We've got loads going on as per usual. So yeah, thanks very much for joining us, and we'll see you at the weekend.